So, Assuncao, there's a lot of hype surrounding Marlon Moraes ahead of his UFC debut. Do you think he deserves all this hype? You
Yeah,
think he's that
sure.
good?
Yeah, I think he does deserve. He's a former champion, former world champion, and he's coming into the UFC. It's good. I mean, for me, it doesn't make a difference who, how he brings the hype, when and how and who he is. Um, we've been very vocal about it that we've got a lot of respect for each other. But it's not gonna change, what we plan on each other. We trained together a couple of times, but again, it's not gonna change the fact, that we're fighting. And yeah, good for him. I'm gonna do what I do. For me, it's not gonna change too much.
When did you train together?
A couple of years ago, I don't remember
Wasn't
what year.
just might be.
Yeah, 2010, maybe 2009, and he developed as a fighter very much so. I've developed very much so.
So you're not taking this in consideration what you saw training with him. You don't consideration in why you were preparing for this fight.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's gonna make a lot of difference. It's because we're so much different, and once you're in the octagon, it's kind of different, anyways. It kind of changes the whole dynamic.
You've been fighting in the UFC 4 years now, and he's coming now to the UFC. But you were in the underdog in this fight. Do you feel that that's a bit disrespectful?
No, I don't feel any disrespect. If that's what they think, it's I don't care. It's if that's how the people feel, that's no problem.
I talked to Marlon, and he said that he expects to get already close to a title shot with a win over you. Where do you see yourself now in the UFC? Do you think that a win over him, especially now that you're coming off a win over Sterling, already gets you there in that position?
Yeah, yeah. I think a win over a former champion will get me close to the title shot again. Yeah.
Last time you were in a long win streak, 7 in a row, but you didn't get your title shot. What your are you going to change anything, the way you fight, the way you promote yourself outside the cage, to maybe change that this time?
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely, seeing a different approach. Changing everything. On my game, on my approach. I'm not gonna be a talker. I'm not gonna change my personality for anything. But I'm definitely looking into imposing a different aspect. Yeah.
In the UFC today, UFC tends to give chance to fighters who talk more. Why you don't consider doing that, change the way you are outside the cage, maybe get this big fight for you in UFC?
Yeah, maybe I can talk more. That's fine. If I have the energy to talk. Right now, I don't have a lot of energy. I'm cutting weight. But yeah, that's no problem. I can talk a little bit more. I mean, and they know who I am. The boss knows who I am, and they match me up with Marlon. If that's who they wanted, that's fine with me. For me, my job is to go out there and win fights, and obviously promote myself, make sure I'm in a good position, and then ultimately, challenge the champion, challenge, for the championship.
Do you plan on talking more after the fight, maybe in the cage, to ask for a big fight and all that after you fight Marlon?
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some emotions involved. Being that you know I'm fighting a guy that is just now debuting in the UFC, and I took the fight. So definitely a win over a former world champion definitely will qualify me to be the next in line, perhaps. And I'll definitely talk, about it. I mean, I'll let everybody know that, hey, whoever you offer me, whoever you give me the fight, I'll fight. But I wanna get what's mine. I wanna, be granted what's mine.
Do you think that this approach, telling the UFC, whoever you give me, I'm gonna fight, is still the best approach to get the right fights in the right time to get closer and faster to the title shot today?
Maybe, maybe if that's how the UFC wanted. They have given me some options, like we were negotiating, and there was a possibility of some different opponents, and Marlon was one of them, and they wanted Marlon, and that's who I signed the contract for. They say me, hey, we want you to fight Marlon. Okay, you send me the contract. There's not much to argue about that.
Among the other options, who were they? Did you?
Jimmy Rivera and some other guys. I think they wanted me to fight in Rio, and he was like some other non-ranked guy, and Jimmy Rivera. So they had negotiation problems with, I think, Jimmy and Marlon was the one that signed, and that's who they wanted.
Would you rather fight Jimmy instead of Marlon because he's in the UFC? He's on a long win streak in the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, there's no preference for me. I mean, for me, it made a little more sense being the number 5 guy, and I'm the number 3 guy. He's on a couple of win streaks. Marlon is just now debuting. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter for me. I mean, he was actually tweeting to me, like sending me stuff. It doesn't matter. You know, whoever, that's who they wanted. We waited a day or two. I talked to my manager. We kind of negotiated. If that's what they wanted, that's fine.
Marlon's coming off a long win streak with a lot of knockouts and submissions. How do you see his style matching up with yours? Do you think you are a bad matchup for him?
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit different than the guys that he's fought in. I think I have seen guys inside the octagon just as dangerous or even more dangerous than him. So I think I have the experience edge in the octagon.
And how do you see yourself winning Saturday?
Man, hopefully, nicely, hopefully by a good submission, a good knockout, or even a good decision.
Just the last question: the main event, Aldo and Max Holloway. How do you see this fight going? Who are you picking to win?
I haven't studied too much. I mean, I know Aldo, of course, but yeah, I mean, I've seen all of their fights actually. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think Aldo has the advantage in some areas. In most of the areas, Aldo has the advantage, and Holloway has a little bit of the advantage on the reach, and he moves pretty well too. I think he has good defense. I think it's going to be a good fight.
Who wins?
I think Aldo wins.
Yeah.